What's up YouTube, Khallid AKA Smoove Flipper. Welcome back to a new video. This video I just want to go over the pros and cons of selling on Mercari. So for those who don't know, I do buy and resell smartphones for profit on many different platforms, Mercari included. But this video is just more tailored to Mercari sellers in general, not just phone flippers. So I'm going to give you guys the pros and the cons of selling on Mercari from based off of my experience and my opinion. Just keep that in mind. So first I'm going to start off with the cons. Let's get into it. Alright, so the cons, you guys can see. Some of the cons on Mercari would be slow sales, just based off of my experience and comparing to eBay. So I do sell a lot on eBay and sell a good amount of phones on Mercari. What I've noticed is that the sales are pretty slow on Mercari. I think that's just the fact that the system basically works like this. When you post an ad or an item on Mercari, it's at the top of the list. Now, over time, your item will be pushed down to the bottom of the list, and your item may be the 5th or 6th page, and about 5 hours of it being posted. So many people are posting on Mercari, and a lot of people are having their items pushed down to the bottom, making their sales slow. So it's up to you to kind of keep up with that and keep up with relisting your items. But I did notice that the sales were pretty slow. Another con would be customer support. I feel like Mercari not having someone you can actually talk to is a con in my opinion, just because you're going to deal with different issues as a seller, as a business owner who's selling on this site. You're going to deal with different issues, and in my opinion, I like talking to people. Email is fine, back and forth. The communication can be slow sometimes. You might not get a reply in 2 or 3 days, but I like to talk with the actual support team and explain what I need to talk about. And if I have an open case, somebody requested a return, I like to talk to the actual support team and explain my reasoning over the phone versus just sending them a message. So customer support, I would say, would be a con. Another con would be scammer accounts. There are a lot of accounts that are now out, buying accounts where people would buy a phone or buy an item and request a return saying they didn't get the item or the item was not described, and they send you back something else. So if you do sell, let's say, an iPhone X, you get a request, somebody wants to return the item, Mercari, they allow the return. The buyer sends a random item back with the tracking. It does show delivered, and they get that money back. So there's a lot of accounts that are doing that right now on Mercari, so keep that in mind. That's why usually I don't like to sell to, accounts that are just open. Like if an account just opened that month of that year, I usually don't tend to sell to them, So keep in mind those accounts are out and they will try to screw you over. So that's another con. Another con would be the money holding system. Now, for those who don't know, when you do sell an item, you don't have that money available just yet. So like if you were selling an item on eBay, they paid through PayPal, you have access to those funds. You can, send that money to your bank account and have that sent either the same day or the next day. With Mercari, they do have a money holding system, which for sellers can be a con. If you don't have much capital and you're trying to really get your money flowing, that money holding system will kind of hold you back in the beginning, because you have to wait until the item is delivered and until the buyer rates you. So sometimes you might end up in a situation where the item has been delivered, let's say on a Monday, and it's Wednesday and the buyer has not rated you. That money is going to still be on hold, and then finally Mercari, after no rating, will release those funds, and then you have to wait another couple of days for your money to end up in your bank account. because it does take a couple days for that to happen. So that's one con, and the last con will be lowballers. So again, I do sell phones and iPads on there, Apple Watches, and I do personally deal with a lot of lowballers. And I'm not talking about people who are wanting an item $50 less than what I'm selling it for. I'm talking about $100 to $150 less than what I'm selling for. If I'm selling a phone for $200, I get a lot of, hey, I'll buy it for $100. I get a lot of those type of offers, and I'm not, I'm pretty positive that I'm not the only one that deals with that. But the low ballers, I know it's business and all that, but just dealing with them, and weeding out those low ballers versus the actual serious buyers, can be a pain. It can be very time consuming reading messages from people who really aren't interested in your item or who are wanting your item for a huge discount. So that's the con, low ballers. Those are all the cons. So let's get into the pros. So for starters, a pro would be that Mercari is very easy to use. Now, again, like I said, I do sell on eBay, so there are some things you do have to learn on eBay on how to list different things and what to check and what not to check. Mercari is pretty straightforward. They do have the app. You just post a couple pictures, your title, description. They give you a chance to do 3 tags, the price, and that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else to do. Anybody can pretty much do it. You can be a beginner at reselling or selling in general, and you can use the app pretty easily. So that's one pro. It's very easy to use. Another pro would be the sales are final. So again, like I mentioned in the one of the cons, that you have to wait for money. That can also be a pro, because once that money, or once the buyer has rated the seller, then the sale is final. So if you are buying an item, before you're gonna rate the seller. If the item was as described, Mercari is gonna send you a little pop up and says, okay, make sure you want to confirm this because all sales are final. So that's good for us sellers, because we don't have to worry about somebody opening a return 30 days after they receive the item. I know on eBay, sometimes you might get a return after 60 days of the item being sold, and that's a con for eBay. But for Mercari, those sales are final. Another one, the most important ones I think everybody likes to hear, is that Mercari only charges a 10% sales fee. I know a lot of different sites. I know Poshmark and Etsy and all them different sites, eBay, combined with PayPal, that's all over 10%. So Mercari just gives you a flat rate 10% fee to sell an item. So you sell an item for $800, they're going to take $80. Sell an item for $10, they're going to take $1. So very straightforward fees wise. That's a pro for me. I do sell a lot of high priced items on there, so I know what I'm going to be getting taken out, or what's going to be getting taken out, versus eBay will be taking out the 10%, plus I have to deal with the PayPal fee as well. So the 10% fee is definitely a pro. Another pro would be communication with buyers. So I feel like it's very easy to communicate with different buyers, their system, as far as messaging and direct messaging each other. It's very easy. You get that message, you just go straight to it. It's just like you're on Facebook Marketplace. You're just going back and forth with the seller, or excuse me, with the buyer, and you guys are communicating that way. I feel like that way of doing it, especially on the app, is a lot easier versus let's say eBay or another site where like Poshmark, the different communication and messaging systems on those apps are a little bit more difficult to navigate. So communication with buyers, I feel like, is a pro. And last but not least, the selling process. So I do like that Mercari keeps you up to date on the process of the sale. So you will have items you want to sell. You sell the items, then Mercari moves that item to the in process section, meaning or ship the item section, where you ship it. It's letting you know, hey, you got to ship this item. You print out the label, you get that item scanned or that label scanned, and then Mercari pushes that item to the in process section. So you are up to date on every single process. So if you forget about an item and you go back to that particular in process section, you will see that, okay, this item has not been delivered yet, or this item has been delivered. You were just waiting for a rating from the buyer. And then once that buyer gives you the rating, the sale is final, they move that item to the completed section. So I do enjoy and love the process that Mercari, makes it a lot easier to keep track of different inventory on what you're selling. I know sometimes on eBay, I have a hard time just going back, all the way to what I sold and see if the item has been delivered. I've even had issues where I sold an item, and a week after when I thought the item was delivered, it was lost by the post office. So I do love the process that Mercari makes it, and how they make it so easy for you to see what where your item is at, as far as the whole process. It's sold, is it in the process, and if it's completed. So I do enjoy that by Mercari, so that's definitely a pro. So that's the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Just wanted to give you guys, different pros and cons of Mercari. Again, I do sell on there. I do love the app as far as, buying and selling on there. It's very easy to use. Just wanted to give you guys my insight on the app itself. So if you do enjoy the video, please drop a like. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.